Alright, hello, my name is Magic Guy, and I'm going to discuss how to create a good villain in my Pecha. Consider this like a short tutorial on how to make a fairly good villain, because villains, well, they make everything better in your story, and a hero without a villain is, well, not really a hero at all. So here we go. The first thing you want to discuss about your villain is their debut. A villain should have a very proper debut. This should cover the things such as appearance, the settings, and conditions all help to influence and make the villain's debut all the more grand. The grander the debut, the more memorable the villain. Simple enough, right? Okay. Next, for this, we're going to discuss their appearance. Try to have your villain's appearance match their personality. Make their character exude from what they wear. And if your villain is supposed to be threatening, then give them a threatening appearance. If not so, then give them as much as a non-threatening appearance, but still an overall evil look to them. Setting is also very important. The time, area, and the location should match the villain. Also, your villain's very first appearance, that is very important because that is where your villain leaves their mark in the minds of the audience. Try to match that up perfectly. If you do that right, and you can time your villain's appearance just perfectly, they'll be remembered in your audience forever. You can do this by setting a proper mood for your villains. You can set a mood by, if you're playing a game or watching a movie or TV show, music helps us out. If you're writing description, make it descriptive of your villain. Create a very strong aura or feel to your villain, whether it's fear, whether it's tension, or just awing, whichever one. Don't just have your villain appear all the time. I mean, it's okay with some villains, but for most of the time it's better if you time it right. Give them a certain circumstances are best to throw your villain in, while some should be handled by other replacers or replace factors or not. But timing that right, again, makes your villain look better. Next is your villain's character. This is the fun part of things about making a villain, because you get to put some of yourselves in them. For your villain, try to discuss these things. Think about your history of your villain, their personality, their habits, their likes and dislikes, strengths, flaws, and whether or not they are relatable to, whether or not the audience can relate to the villain. So for the backstory of your villain, their history, brainstorm, write down a piece of paper and consider these things. The origins of your villain, where they came from, why is your villain evil? Not all villains start off evil. Also try to think of things such as the past childhood friends, families, growing up, things that they experienced in their life. Show them. Personality defines your villain. It is very important that you time this right and you get this right the first time because, well, everybody likes a decent personality in a villain. But also, if your villain is evil or really evil, try to make him inhumane but still give him feelings to show that he still has a softer human side. Influence is another very important thing for your villain's character. It shows how much of a threat they can be. And also, it shows a relationship between them and their subordinates. If your villain rules their subordinates through persuasion, then they're obviously very good with words. Or maybe your villain is the kind of villain that intimidates his villains. That's how he gains his influence. All these things help make your villain more of a villain. Next, we have the likes and dislikes. Villains have many things they like. Villains like some misery, they like murder, chaos. We have anarchists, all kinds of things. But also don't show what makes them happy, but show what makes them angry too. Again, it has that human factor to it. Villain is supposed to have strengths, right? Well, yeah. But for the most part, you want to have these strengths. Make them not just super strengths and stuff like that, but human strengths. Cunning, recklessness, all these things can be strengths, but some of these things can also be downfalls, flaws. And one of the things I want to discuss the most about villain flaws are personality flaws, such as giving them a conscience. If a villain has a conscience or fears, that shows that they're still human. They still have things that can stop them dead in their tracks. Sometimes their personality flaws, such as being a prankster or being reckless, can also hurt them. So look at the Joker. He got himself in a bad situation, probably pulling bad pranks. The most important thing you want to have right now for your villain is whether or not they are relatable. The relationship between the audience and the villain is for the villain to make the audience look deep inside themselves and see a bit of the villain in them. And if you do that right, it really leaves, again, a never-lasting effect on your villain. Excuse me, alright. So, the purpose of the villain is the final thing I'm going to discuss that's very important. It shows the relationship between the villain and the hero, the villain's plans, as well as his motives. Get these right, and I guarantee you that your villain will be just as strong and just as memorable as some of the greatest villains out there in comic book, movie, and TV history. The villain's relationship with the hero is the fact that he is there to make your hero look good. The more the hero struggles and toils to make the villain's obstacles, the better the hero comes out to look. Villains are roadblocks, essentially. And deceptive villains, they are great because we know that they're truth, but the hero doesn't. Every villain has a plan. Don't care what you say, what you believe. Every villain you ever known has a plan. And the plan is good because it helps develop plot, shows inner thinking, and the plan lives on. Even if the hero defeats the villain, it doesn't necessarily stop the giant asteroid he pulled towards Earth from crashing into us. Next is a motive. No villain wakes up in the morning and says, hey, I'm going to conquer the world. They have to have a motive. Maybe your villain lost a loved one, so now he wants to strip the whole world of all their loved ones. All of these things are great ways to help improve your villain and make them seem more human. It justifies their actions and causes for being evil. Some examples I have for great villains include the Joker, Bane, Doom, Darth Vader, Majin Buu, Magneto. These are all, great heroes. And also Disney. The reason why I say Disney because Disney has been a mass manufacturer of evil over the years. Look at all their great villains: Scar, Jafar, Ursula. And finally, we have my conclusion to this tutorial, which is some great villain faces of yours. But just follow these guidelines and you should be able to easily, no doubt, make a great villain for your hero, for your audience, and for yourself. So just go out there and have fun.